Let me ask you this. If you were to start over tomorrow, what is the one thing that you would do, whether you were starting with a small account, to start to game plan to generate your wealth? What's up, world? Scott from Scotland here, and I'm super excited for this episode of Wealth Stacks because I have none other than Price Headley here with me today. Why don't you give a quick 30-second to a minute intro of who you are, what you've done, and how you're here today.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Scott. Who I am, I started BigTrends.com back in 1999. I've been trading since graduating from Duke University in '89, so I've always had the trading bug.
So let me ask you this. If you were to start over tomorrow, what is the one thing that you would do, whether you were starting with a small account, to start to game plan to generate your wealth?
It's a great question, Scott. I think the big thing that so many people are tempted with a, quote, small account is a great way to start. If you're literally starting from scratch, you literally have to protect your bankroll so carefully. And I see a lot of people who are like, oh, I've got to take a big swing, and if it strikes out, I'm out of the game, but I got to take a big swing. And I'm like, no, you don't. You can basically take the same principles that I apply for bigger accounts and take it down to a smaller account and say, the same principles that got you to a bigger account are going to get you from a smaller account to a bigger account, to go from big to bigger. And the philosophy for me is, like I said, controlling risk on every trade. I see a lot of people who are not willing to cut and run on an idea because they're so committed to it. And I think that's where I've spent a lot of time in my trading careers on the technical analysis side, because to me the charts don't lie. You can see where the money's flowing in and out. You can see the stocks moving up or down. And if you're fighting that momentum, those big trends, then you really can get yourself in a lot of trouble. And so a big part of it for me is to be able to say, okay, I can follow the technicals and not get married to the fundamental story. So much of Wall Street wants to sell investors stories.
1,000%.
And they turn people into bag holders on these situations where they say, well, you liked it, the stock was at 100, now it's at 50. What a great buying opportunity. You buy it at 50, it can go back to 100. Then at 40, you like it even more. At 30, well, you could triple your money back to 100. 20, you can make 5 times your money. Well, that thing's trending down.
Yeah.
I saw it with the tech stock collapse when I was launching Big Trends in the early 2000s, and that's why when I was building my stake in the mid to late 90s to be able to start Big Trends, I was always saying, okay, I got to take very conservative bets, and I want to buy in the money options, which I don't want to get too technical here, but just taking a more of a stock substitute approach rather than trying to swing for the fences with the really aggressive cheapies that have a low probability of success. I wanted a higher probability of success, like you said, that consistency, and also being able to still have something to salvage if it doesn't go right, that you can cut and run, keep your loss small, and keep rolling that over. So lose small, win big, lose small, win big. You're not going to win every time, and that's the case in anything in life, whether it's in marketing initiatives and any kind of client acquisition and any kind of building a business. You're going to have things that go well, things that don't go well. And a big part of it too, I would say, Scott, is resiliency.
Yes.
To be committed to your belief in yourself. Once you have honed your craft, honed what your edge is, is that if you just follow dollars, you will always bail when there's a downturn. Okay. And if you follow your own internal confidence and compass that you know you can do it, then you just got to stick through the inevitable ebbs and flows. That resiliency will keep you moving on. Some would call it persistence, that whole philosophy of, if you press on and press through, then you basically, that's carried a lot of people through what seemed like some dark times. I know that, as you said, last year for a lot of people was not only a reset, but a dark time for either them or family, people that got sick or people that lost jobs. Yeah. And I think that's basically the resiliency that our whole country and perhaps around the world is being tested with, is to say how you bounce back. We bounced back from this 100 years ago with the Spanish flu, and I'm confident that we'll bounce back from this, but I do know a lot of people have been through a lot of challenges. So a big part of it for us is showing people how to empower themselves, understanding how to read the charts, looking for certain patterns, and then how to take advantage of those. But it's the same thing whether you're, whatever field you're in, whatever business you're in. But a big part of it is knowing what your really true passion and your true skill is.
Yeah.
For a lot of people that haven't found that, that's kind of going to be the first step, because once you know what you're good at. That's what you want to exploit. That's what our whole capitalist society is built off of.
100%.
Specialization, being able to say, well, I'm not a brain surgeon. If I need brain surgery, I'm not going to look it up on the internet and try to get operating on myself. I'm going to go find the best brain surgeon I can. It's the same thing with, technical analysis experts or anything else. You want to find the best of the best and then apply those same rules of success that they've applied and know that you're going to be in good hands.
Yeah. So two things there, right? Is I don't think a lot of people talk about it. I know they talk about it in the business side of things and almost like fitness about mindset. But in trading, I know we don't really talk about that in trading because you can't tie profits to it, right? Like, it's so easy to sell an indicator because, hey, look, it's going to generate this, it's generate this. How much do you think inside of trading your success comes down to having emotional intelligence and having the discipline inside of your emotions?
That's a great question, Scott. I would say that even though I trade an incredibly volatile vehicle like options, I think one of my strengths has always been to stay even, to stay steady, to not get too high when it's going well. So that's when you overcommit your capital and then you risk blowing up because you've gotten overconfident. And also not get too low if you've had a few that you had to get rid of and they weren't working, and to then give up on your plan. Like I'm saying, don't give up on those lows as long as you know it fits the parameters of your system. Obviously, we do a lot of testing about what we call equity curves, like what's the normal path to growth. Yeah. Is it a jagged path and a really volatile one, or is it nice and steady with an occasional dip and you can stay with that and subscribers can stay with it? We found, of course, that subscribers love that steady consistency. And so a lot of people do gravitate towards those high win rate strategies where you can just steadily take money out of, say, selling a little premium along the way. You might give up the home run, but you're willing to do it to increase your consistency. So there's just loads of ways to get that wealth track going in your favor, but also you have to make sure. I think the biggest problem people have is the inability to get rid of ideas that aren't working. It's people do the exact opposite of what they should do. They take their profits too quickly because they're afraid of seeing a profit turn into a loss.
Yes.
And then when it's a loss, there's so much hoping that it's going to get back to break even that they sit on that loss, and that small loss turns into a big loss. So we're always recommending people that small loss is usually your best loss, whereas when you're right, take partial profits, but don't take your whole position off until it hits higher objectives. So we're always trying to stretch people to not giving up their best ideas. Because for me, I don't know about you, but for me, my best trades are usually right from the start, and they keep going a lot of times bigger than even I expect. And my worst trades are the ones I was really thinking were going to be good. I didn't get rid of them quick enough, and then they just keep on going south, and then you later find out that something has changed at the company or what have you.